Welcome to the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay. This is your positive path for spiritual living.
When we face a crisis in our life, depending the way that we react to it, we can actually use it to take a quantum leap in our evolution. Now, that does not mean that every crisis will allow us to do that, because once again, it is all dependent on how we react to what is taking place in our lives. The quantum leap experience can be likened to a caterpillar going to a cocoon and coming out as this beautiful butterfly that is able to rise above the battleground and travel long distance graciously. Now, this period of being in the cocoon, so to speak, can also be likened or illustrated with going through the eye of the needle and coming out in the other side as the master that we were meant to be. And so the question is, what does it take to go through the eye of the needle? And their answer is, we will be asked to shed, to let go of our false beliefs and thoughts, all those things that we have held subconsciously. And so the question is, how can I let go of fearful thoughts and beliefs? But before that, I would like to mention, in Scripture, we hear that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. But it's important that we understand that what blocks the rich man from entering the kingdom of heaven is not his wealth, but his false perception that his wealth is the source of his safety, his security, and his well-being. Therefore, in the fear of losing those things, he's unable to move and enter the kingdom. So what keeps him from being able to enter the kingdom is the fear of losing. So the question is, how can I react without fear to fearful circumstances? Because usually when we are faced with the crisis, it's normal and natural for us to react in fear. And so the book, The Way of Mastery, which teaches us how to move through the eye of the needle and come out as the master that we were meant to be, recommends us to withdraw value and power from the circumstances of life with the understanding that whatever is taking place in our life today is the reflection or the result of seeds that we have planted in the past, and that we can choose today, in the face of all appearances, plant a different seed that would allow us to create a more desirable future. And so, another recommendation that the book does is for us to, instead of paying attention to the circumstances of life, it's to understand that those circumstances do not represent the primary level of reality. In other words, there is another level of reality in which we are able to understand and experience our oneness with our Creator. And as we experience our oneness with our Creator, we are reminded that we also have all the attributes of that Creator. the attributes of harmony, of abundance, of perfection, and of immortality. As a matter of fact, if you look at the history of the founders of Unity, both Charles and Murdo Fillmore, they were faced with a very dire situation in the early stages of their spiritual evolution. Murdo Fillmore was given 3 months to live because of her tuberculosis, and Charles Fillmore, being a realtor on a real estate crash, lost everything that he had, and they were both going to be evicted from their property. So they did just that. They stopped looking at the circumstances of their lives, and instead they began to focus on this other realm of reality in which they recognized their oneness with their source. They used the power of affirmations again and again to keep their mind focused on the new seed that they were going to plant. It's interesting that in Scripture, we also hear that when your eyes are single, your whole body will be filled with light. Meaning that if we can manage to keep the focus of our attention in this ultimate reality of our oneness with God, then our whole inner being will be filled with light, and we will be guided into the kingdom through the eye of the needle. So it's important that we are reminded that whatever is taking place in our lives right now, it's a reflection of our inner state of being, very much like looking at a mirror. And if we are not happy with the image that is being presented in the mirror, the only thing that we can do to change is to change that which is projecting the image. And so my invitation for you here tonight is that if a fearful thought is presented to you, for you to not identify yourself with it and not embrace it believing to be truth. Because when you embrace a fearful thought and you begin to abide in it hour after hour after hour, what happens is you're planting the seed for more fearful events to be presented to you in the future. And so the way out of this is to be able to recognize the thought when it's presented to you, and instead of embracing it, just allow it to move away. The thought is presented to you again, you allow it to move away. And it's presented again, and you do that again and again. And the interesting thing is this: when you stop giving your attention to fearful thoughts and beliefs, when you stop believing them to be truth, and you just allow them to go by, the interesting thing is that they will present themselves to you less and less. And in this way, you are able to shed away the fearful thoughts and beliefs that is keeping you from moving forward. And as you fill your heart with hope, with certainty, and with the awareness of your oneness with the Creator, you too will be able to move through the eye of the needle and come out in the other side as the master that you were meant to be. And so as we prepare ourselves to enter this spirit of quiet reflection and meditation, I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath and begin to bring your attention to your heart, to your physical body, as you allow yourself to experience this profound sense of peace that is already present within you. In this moment, I invite you to let go of any concern about your life with the understanding that there is an indwelling presence within you now that knows your needs before you ask, and that it is its good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And in the awareness of that, you relax.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community located in Miami, Florida. Unity on the Bay is supported by the generosity of its community. If you'd like to make a donation or learn more about Unity on the Bay, please visit unityonthebay.org. You can also follow Unity on the Bay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for even more positive spiritual inspiration. Until next time, thanks for listening and many blessings. Namaste.